Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to tie another jig. Obviously we have a 1/4 ounce Smeltinator jig head in the vise, some olive flat wax 210 denier thread on the base, and we're going to be tying some coyote body hair with some orange marabou. So stick around and let's get to tying. All right, so I'm just going to start by tying in the orange marabou. I just took a few clumps of feather here, and this is going to be our tail, so to speak. And I've just got them clumped together. I'm just going to tie them sort of on top or the bottom of the shank here and get those cinched in really good. Move that around a little bit. Before I really cinch it down. That should be good. And now we'll really try to wrap that in good. Oops, still moving around a bit. And that should be hopefully won't move around much on the shank of the hook. These things don't really matter there. Right, now we are going to just cut, score some, to take a strip of this. I have already brushed it out pretty thoroughly, as you can see by this comb and by this brush. Lots of underfur in these things, so make sure you do brush and comb them out pretty good before you tie with them. But yeah, that's the next step. Just going to score a little strip here from the leather, and we're going to wrap that around. All right, we got one of our strips cut here, and we're just going to start to we're going to tie that in, and we're going to start wrapping. And even though I've brushed through this a good bit, still is quite, it's quite messy still. But that's okay. That's just part of doing it. But yeah, just trying to make sure that these hairs get brushed back as I go, and don't want to trap any of that marabou in there either, as I'm doing now. And just working my way up the shank of the hook as you would anything else that you're wrapping. Making sure it's brushed back and nothing's getting trapped and that kind of thing. And then making sure this under stuff doesn't get caught either. And I will just tie that off there. And then insert another strip of coyote hair and continue. Give that a snip. And make sure that that's in there really good. All right, and now we'll tie in our second strip here. All right, so I just got my second strip of coyote body hair here. And we're just going to tie in the leather and then do the same, just wrap it around. And I may, after this is done, I may give this give the jig a bit of a brush just with my dubbing brush a little bit. But it is still very yeah, very messy. Oops. Put that back in there properly. But yeah. And we'll just tie that off. And snip off that bit. Need to get a bit closer. Reposition myself here. Alright, and then we'll just do a few more wraps here. Just kind of, I have the little leather tab here on my side, so I'm just going to try to hide that a bit better with the threads. But other than that, we're pretty much done. After the whip finish, we'll give it a bit of loon and we'll throw in the tank and see what it looks like. Yeah, I haven't, I mean, I know I've tied a couple of times with Coyote body hair. Usually I tie with Coyote tail, but I do know that the body hair also fans out quite a bit and things like that. So yeah, I expect there to be some decent action with this jig. But figured I would just try it. I got these Smeltinator heads, and it was a bit of I typically wouldn't buy this color of Smeltinator head, but it was a bit of an impulse buy, and so here we have it. So I figured, well, I can make a jig with these things, and away we go. So we'll see what it does in the water and how it performs, and you know how good it'll swim and that type of thing. But oops, that didn't go according to plan. If I would have had some better orange schlappen, I probably would have used that for a tail instead of the marabou, but I do have some orange mink still that I could have used, but I think the mink is a little too buoyant. I don't know if you've watched my other video with also Coyote body hair and mink as a tail, but the mink just helped that jig. That was on a round head, ball head, and that mink just helped that jig stand straight up. So I wasn't sure if I didn't think mink would be a good idea for a jig that you might want to swim or what have you. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw some loon on there if I can find it, and we'll throw in the tank and see what it does. Hey folks, so I got her in the test tank here, and I'm just swimming her around a little bit. And as I've said before, my tank's not nearly big enough to do a proper swim with these jigs that you want for swimming, but nonetheless, I hope this gives you a bit of an idea of what it might look like. I do need to get a proper tank one of these days, and I will. But yeah, I think with a pretty steady retrieve here, I think you'll get some nice flow. I mean, that Coyote body hair almost plays a little bit like bucktail in the water, and of course the marabou tail will do its thing in the water there as well. But the Coyote body hair is, like Coyote tail, is super buoyant, and so you know, probably if I were to use this again, I would probably go maybe on a ball head. If you do, like, say if you just pause it here, you can tell. So I'm suspending it. And you can tell that it sort of wants to hang nose down because that Coyote is pushing it up. So for a bottom contact jig like this, you know, it's gonna work good. But yeah, I mean, but for swimming it around, I think also it'll be good, and I'll definitely give this a shot and see what it looks like when I've proper space and a proper retrieve and that type of thing. But nonetheless, here it is, folks. Take it for what it's worth. And I really appreciate all the views and all the new subscribers. I think we're up to just over 200 now subscribers, which I know in the realm of YouTube isn't much, but for me it means a lot. So I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone is doing well. And we'll catch you next time, folks. Take care.